When it comes to architecture, most people envision homes that blend form with function, structures that are aesthetically pleasing, practical, and comfortable. But not every homeowner follows this formula. Across the globe, there are a number of homes so strange, so outrageous, and so unconventional that they make you question everything you thought you knew about design and practicality. Whether these homes are the result of an architect's wild imagination or a homeowner's eccentric taste, one thing is certain: they are the most ridiculous houses you'll ever see. From houses shaped like animals to ones suspended in impossible places, these architectural oddities are designed to turn heads and drop jaws. Let's take a tour of some of the most bizarre homes ever built, where the line between brilliance and absurdity is delightfully blurred. The Upside Down House. If you ever find yourself in the town of Szymbork, Poland, you might feel like you've stepped into a surreal world. One of the town's most famous attractions is the Upside Down House, the house that, quite literally, is upside down. The roof is on the ground, the foundation points to the sky, and the entire interior is built upside down as well. Walking through it feels disorienting, with tables, chairs, and even toilets hanging from the ceiling. The house was designed as a commentary on the social and political upheavals that occurred in Poland during the communist era. The architect, Daniel Chapiewski, wanted to create a symbol of how the world felt turned upside down during this time. But while the house may carry deep political meaning, its appearance and layout are undeniably absurd. Visitors often leave feeling dizzy due to the unnatural perspectives created by the inversion. The Shoe House. Located in Hallam, Pennsylvania, the Shoe House is one of the most literal interpretations of the phrase "if the shoe fits." This giant boot-shaped home was built in 1948 by a shoe salesman named Malon Haynes as a marketing gimmick. The house is an oversized version of a work boot, standing 5 stories tall, and it's complete with real windows, doors, and even a shoe-shaped doghouse next to it. While it was originally constructed to promote Haynes' shoe business, the Shoe House has since become a tourist attraction, drawing curious visitors who want to tour its quirky interior. The house contains a living room, kitchen, bathrooms, and even a small bedroom in the tow area. Although it's a fully functioning home, living inside the boot is undeniably ridiculous, but also undeniably charming. The Flintstone House. The Flintstone House, located in Hillsborough, California, is exactly what it sounds like, a home inspired by the Stone Age aesthetic of the famous cartoon show The Flintstones. Designed by architect William Nicholson in 1976, the house features organic, flowing curves that mimic the appearance of caves. Built using a technique called shotcrete, the house's odd, bulbous structure has earned it the nickname the Flintstone House. The house became even more eccentric when its current owner, Florence Fang, took over. She added life-sized dinosaur sculptures, a giant mastodon, and a variety of other prehistoric-themed decor to the garden, turning the property into a veritable cartoon paradise. It's a home that feels more like a theme park than a residence, making it one of the most whimsically ridiculous houses in the world. The Bubble Palace. Perched on the cliffs overlooking the Mediterranean Sea, the Bubble Palace in Theil-sur-Mer, France, is a futuristic residence that looks like it belongs on another planet. Designed by Hungarian architect Antti Lovag in the 1970s, the house consists entirely of interconnected bubble-shaped rooms, creating a flowing, organic structure with no sharp angles or straight lines. The Bubble Palace was famously owned by French fashion designer Pierre Cardin, whose avant-garde style is reflected in every corner of the home. Each bubble serves as a different living space, whether it's a bedroom, a bathroom, or a lounge. And the exterior bubbles open out to panoramic terraces that offer stunning views of the French Riviera. While the Bubble Palace is undoubtedly a work of architectural genius, it's also a bit absurd. Its lack of right angles makes it feel disorienting, and the bubbly, futuristic design feels more like something from a sci-fi movie than a real-world residence. But its eccentricity is part of its charm, and the house continues to be a favorite of design enthusiasts who appreciate its bold departure from traditional architectural norms. The Nautilus House. If you've ever wanted to live inside a seashell, the Nautilus House in Mexico City might be your dream home, or your worst nightmare, depending on your taste. Designed by architect Javier Senocian, this shell-shaped house is inspired by organic architecture and the curves of the ocean. The entire home is built to resemble a nautilus shell, with a spiraling, curving design that feels almost otherworldly. The interior of the house is just as unusual, featuring flowing spaces with no clear boundaries between rooms. The floors are covered in vibrant mosaics, and the walls blend seamlessly into the ceiling, making the space feel like it's alive. The centerpiece of the house is a massive, multicolored stained glass wall that lets light filter in, creating a magical underwater-like atmosphere. Though undeniably beautiful in its own way, the Nautilus house is also ridiculous in its refusal to adhere to any traditional design principles. Living inside the shell might seem whimsical, but it's a far cry from the practicality most homeowners look for. Still, for those who embrace eccentricity, the Nautilus house is a marvel. The heliodome. In Cassweiler, France, there exists a house that not only looks bizarre, but functions in a completely unconventional way. The heliodome, designed by architect Eric Wasser, is a solar house that is tilted at an angle to maximize energy efficiency. The house is shaped like a giant sundial, with its large glass facade positioned to capture sunlight during the winter months, while keeping the interior cool during summer. Its design was informed by the path of the sun, ensuring that the building remains comfortable year-round without relying heavily on artificial heating or cooling. While the heliodome's ecological benefits are impressive, its appearance is undeniably odd. The tilted, triangular structure looks like something from a futuristic spaceship, and its harsh angles contrast sharply with the rural French countryside. The house's design may be functional, but it's also downright ridiculous when compared to the traditional stone farmhouses that surround it. Nevertheless, it stands as a symbol of the potential for architecture to merge sustainability with radical design.
The house on the rock, perched atop a cliff in Wisconsin, USA. The house on the rock is not only a house but an entire complex filled with some of the strangest collections of art, memorabilia, and oddities you'll ever see. Designed by Alex Jordan Jr. in the 1940s, the house was initially conceived as a weekend retreat but soon evolved into a sprawling, labyrinthine structure filled with bizarre and fantastical spaces. The house's most famous feature is the Infinity Room, a narrow corridor that extends out over the cliff with glass windows on all sides, offering dizzying views of the landscape below. But beyond its architecture, the house's real eccentricity lies in its contents. Rooms filled with self-playing musical instruments, an enormous carousel, and even a room that houses the giant whale paddling an octopus. The house on the rock is an absurdly eclectic mix of architecture, art, and fantasy. It feels more like a museum of oddities than a home, but its sheer ridiculousness has made it a beloved landmark for those who appreciate the bizarre. The most ridiculous houses in the world stand as reminders that architecture is not always about function or formality. Sometimes, homes are built purely for the sake of pushing boundaries, embracing eccentricity, or even poking fun at convention. Whether it's an upside-down house, a shoe-shaped residence, or a futuristic bubble palace, these homes challenge the traditional ideas of what the house should be. While they may not be to everyone's taste, they are certainly unforgettable and prove that when it comes to architecture, the sky's the limit. Quite literally.